and unmute. What?
So let's start. Good morning, everybody. I see we have a very crowded group of people attending this webinar. It means that we have really catch up your attention and that you are ready to submit very meaningful and impactful proposals. Thanks for being here. We, all the panelists, the topic leaders, together with the TETTRIs coordinators and the administrator of the call, are here ready to answer your questions. But let's start this second webinar that intends to be really productive and really interactive with you all, trying to address your questions and giving you the right answers. So let's start the second webinar to inform you on how it will be the call for 3PPs, the third-party projects. Olaf, please take the floor.
Thank you, Anna, and good morning, everyone. A very warm welcome to our second webinar for the TETTRIs project for the call for third-party projects. My name is Olaf Veldhuizen, and Head of Project Management here at Catalyze. We're the administrator for the TETTRIs project for this very exciting set of projects. Very excited to see you all here this morning. For your information, this is a condensed version in the sense that we really want to give you the opportunity to ask as many questions around the topics or more of the logistics for the proposals and the submissions as possible. There will be an introduction from Anna about the overall structure of the project, but also the proposals, and then the topic leads will present on the individual topics. They will do that very briefly. For the attendees in the webinar, the first webinar is online, which is also very detailed. Again, there were a lot of questions. There's a frequently asked questions on the website, so there is already a lot of information available. So this session is very much around giving you the opportunity to ask very specific topic related questions or proposal or submission related questions. We encourage you to post questions in the box named questions. We will track those questions, and then we will facilitate and moderate the questions after the topic presentations, and we'll look to get through as many questions as possible in the time allocated for this webinar. So on that note, very excited to see so many attendees here, and I'll hand over to Anna.
Yeah, thanks, Olaf. I will try to catch up and try to take the slides over. Here we are. Well, my name is Anna Casino. I'm the CTAF Executive Director, and I will, for those who might not know yet, CTAF, I would like to tell you that CTAF stands for the Consortium of European Taxonomic Facilities. We are the unique organization in Europe that gathers natural science museums, natural history museums, all those taxonomic institutions that are living with assets, our collections, geological and biological collections, but also that gathers researchers, over 5,000 researchers doing research on top of those collections, running taxonomic projects and creating knowledge. This is CTAF. We are 71 institutions across 23 countries in Europe, but we don't work in isolation. We work very closely with a very large number of projects, initiatives, stakeholders that make taxonomy becoming recognized as a fundamental science in tackling biodiversity loss and in doing research excellence science around biodiversity. So you see here many of our stakeholders and initiatives in which CTAF and its members are involved, but there are a lot of others. And one of these is TETTRIS, and here we are. TETTRIS stands for Transforming European Taxonomy Through Training, Research and Innovations. This is a project, a European-funded project under Horizon Europe that comprises 17 partners from 11 European countries that will last for 42 months, and that has almost 6 million euros of budget. This is critical, a critical project for us. This is important for the CETAF community, but at large for the entire taxonomic related institutions, because we are aiming to set up the basis towards the scaling up the recognition of taxonomy, as I mentioned, as a fundamental science for biodiversity related issues. So we have TETTRIS as a starting point to transforming what taxonomy means for other disciplines, but also for the citizens, the general public, the policymakers. So how TETTRIS, this project, is structured? This has two main pillars. One is to create knowledge, and the other is to produce systems, tools, mechanisms, methods that support the creation of taxonomic knowledge. We have 9 work packages that try to address all these things, all the topics that you are here reading that are at the basis of this project. But we would like to highlight that this project, TETTRIS, integrates a very important novelty. We have integrated within that 6 million euros of budget, we have integrated what we call the third-party projects funding mechanism. What it is, this means that 1.8 million out of that budget will be transferred to projects that will help us to test, to validate, to corroborate, to collaboratively produce that knowledge and validate the methods that we aim to implement. And why this novelty? Because we think that the most important thing under the taxonomic umbrella is to be ready to transfer the knowledge that is being created within the taxonomic facilities, within the museums, the botanical gardens. That knowledge needs to be transferred also to citizens, also to the practitioners that are doing work in the field. And this is the objective. Through this mechanism, we aim to really support the local nodes, those practitioners, those who are really touching ground in the hotspots or protected areas in Europe, to create new methods, new tools that will support their work. And this is exactly which are the objectives of these, what we call the 3 PPs, the third-party projects. What are we looking for? We aim that you propose projects as a local node. You might be already an established group of researchers, or you might be a new consortium created on top of your joint interest. You can be institutions, entities managing protected areas or hotspots. You can be NGOs. You can be any type of legal entities that want to get together, create some actions and activities in the spot, in the field, and that you will like to work in, as I mentioned, in those protected areas, in biodiversity hotspots that are being identified in Europe. And meaning Europe also including all those territories that are related to our European countries. So what to do? We have organized this call around 7 topics. 6 are very well focused in terms of the scope that needs to be addressed. And the seventh one, is more transversal in trying to engage with citizen scientists at large, with general public. But you will hear from the topic leaders more in detail what each of those topics aim to address. So far, we are trying to fund around between 9 and 15 meaningful, impactful projects that may run between 6 and 22 months of as a time life of the project, and that will be funded with a budget between 50 and 200 Ks of euros. So these are very diverse projects that you may submit. They are diverse in terms of length, budget, and also a number, impact. But all of them need to be close to the hotspots in biodiversity areas that we have described. And each of them need to, of course, address the topics that you will hear are the focus of this call. Now, I think that basically you need to take into consideration this time frame that you look in the screen. We launched the call on the 1st of July. We had the first webinar, a very informative webinar, just to describe and to give you some basic generic information. As Olaf mentioned, this is already online, and from then up to now we have created the FAQs, trying to address all the questions that we have received up to date. We will expect you to submit projects until the last day of September. We then will have a couple of months to assess them all, and we expect to have the final results of our evaluation by the first half of December. We will communicate and inform those projects, the leaders of those projects that finally will get approval, and we expect those projects to start the earliest on the 2nd of January to be run until the end of October 2025. So these are the basic features of those projects, of the call that we have opened. But before getting to the topics specifically, I will hand over and give the floor to Pavla Ruskova, that will explain a few more details in terms of eligibility criteria for the projects that we aim you will submit under this call. Pavla, please come in.
Thank you, Anna. Hello, I'm Pavla Ruskova, and I would like just to quickly remind the basic rules for the call. First of all, please read application guidelines, including evaluation criteria. The eligible countries are basically the whole Europe, but there are some exceptions. So if you have any doubts, please ask some questions and send questions to us. Next slide, please. The projects has to be focused on the needs of local nodes by biodiversity hotspots, protected areas, or taxonomic knowledge centers. Next slide, please. So for the cooperation in local nodes, you will need to communicate with people outside your institution, with TETTRIs consultants, and also with others who could be your partners or stakeholders of your project. Next, please. We would like to encourage you to create a partnership. It means consortium composed from 2 or 3 applicants or more if you need to, and eligible applicants are or partners are institutions from research, education, conservation, or innovation in taxonomy, or other biodiversity-related topics. It means it could be museums, collections, herbaria, research institutes, universities, and also small enterprises, NGOs, and public entities. Next, please. The budget of the project is expected between 50 and 200,000 euros. The rules for budget are really easy and straightforward, but we need to know if the costs in your budget are really needed for the project. So please justify the budget. Next, please. For personal costs, I would like to emphasize just the rule. If you have the budget more than 100,000 euros or more than 3 partners, you will surely need project manager in your team. So please budget the money for your project manager as well. Next, please. Travel costs and meal allowance. The rules here, we don't create any new rules. Please follow the rules in your institution or do a market research to budget the costs for these activities. Next, please. The travel and meal allowance for example, training or field work are eligible not only for project workers, but also for trainers, trainees, stakeholders, including citizen scientists, amateur taxonomists. Next, please. The equipment, if you need new equipment or material, other goods or services are also eligible if you need it and it is necessary for your project, but please justify it and please do research, market research so you can show that the cost is not excessive. Thank you. Next, please. We have also non-eligible costs, and basically there are costs for projects generating profit, open access costs, and overhead costs. Thank you. Next, please. The funding schedule, the cash flow of your project will be supported by 3 payments. One payment, the first payment at the beginning of the project is 30%, and then in the middle of your project after you send your report, and we will meet you in a review meeting. And if everything will be okay, we will send you 45% of the project budget. And the final payment, 25% of the project budget will arrive after we approve your final technical and financial report. Next. Thank you very much for your attention, and I would like to hand over to our ethics and gender and inclusion expert. Okay. I can take it over.
Hello, do you hear me?
Yes, Carol.
Oh, you
yes,
do?
I can hear you.
Okay, great, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
So, yes, within this project and within European projects at large, we are now very much caring about the ethics and gender dimensions to be included and really that are impactful actually on society at large within research projects. So we are asking you to kindly look at the ethics grid that has been prepared for you to be filled in. It is a requirement from the European Commission, so you will have one form to fill in, which is quite explicit in itself, and there are also some guidelines for you to be able to get more informed on the various fields that are to be tackled within this ethics topic. And the gender inclusion aspect is also annexed with a grid that is dedicated to it, with some specific questions that once you will have obtained the project will have to be followed throughout the project and after the project that you will have performed. So these are the two topics that are really mandatory for you to take into consideration for your application. Thank you. I will hand over to the next.
Thank you, Carol, for this introduction to the gender and inclusion and also ethics that are, as you mentioned, very important, but not critical for the selection of the projects. Please be aware of this. In any case, we will go now to the definition of the topics by each of the topic leaders. And I will like to start with topic 1 that refers to pollinator collections. Please, I understand that who is presenting this topic is
Maria.
Maria,
I will
please. I didn't see you. Thank you, Maria.
Okay. Okay, thank you, Anna, and good morning, everyone. I'm Maria Heikkilä from the Finnish Museum of Natural History, and we also have Lorenzo Cecchi and Sara Rossi de Gasparis from the University of Florence present here to answer your questions. So topic 1, species level indexing of pollinator collections is aimed at making reference collections in museums and other collection holding facilities more accessible so that they can be found and used to support and develop the taxonomic expertise of researchers and citizen scientists. This will benefit all institutes involved in biodiversity, conservation and protection. An objective of TETTRIs is to pilot the creation of a web-based portal or platform through which people can access species-level information on the contents of collections. For this pilot, pollinators have been chosen as the target group. And with help from third-party projects, the aim is to collect species-level indexes, that is, species lists of important pollinator collections in Europe. All the data collected in TETTRIS will be used to pilot the creation of the online portal to access species-level information on collection contents. And assisted by TETTRIS consultants, third-party projects should provide digital species-level indexes of at least 6 important pollinator collections in Europe. These can be sub-collections, that is, parts of larger collections. The proposal should be designed with input from local stakeholders to address the needs of the local community and contribute to pollinator conservation in the region. And we also want to gather information on the best indexing protocols. We want to know how long it takes to inventory collections of different type and size, how much resources are needed, and what is the best workflow. This valuable information will be used to create general guidelines for producing such species indexes. And the applicants can also include innovative approaches in the proposal. For example, you can propose to improve an existing reference collection of pollinators, or to develop an effective protocol to collect species level indexes, or involve citizen scientists, or test artificial intelligence in producing such lists. So the work by the third parties is very important because it will provide valuable data on pollinator species in European collection holding facilities. Thank you for your attention, and maybe now you can ask questions.
Perhaps, Maria, thank you so much for a detailed explanation on the topic one. Perhaps we may listen first all the topics, and we will give a final open time slot for discussion and questions. I would like to move then to topic 2.
Thank you, Anna. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So yeah, topic 2 is aiming at improving access to local taxon lists and taxon-related scientific data in general through pragmatic name mapping workflows. We have to admit that the topic 2 title is a bit clumsy, but the background in a nutshell is that in TETTRIS Work Package 2, there's a task called mapping local taxonomies, where we will develop recommendations and workflows for linking local taxonomic reference data resources with international taxonomic backbone services. And the aim is to be able to better integrate taxonomic data, as well as enabling the application of automated inference methods. So to this end, 3PP projects for topic 2 will support this activity. First of all, they should first of all test the linking of local resources. This could be, for example, a local checklist, a collection, or other research data with taxonomic references. Then secondly, they should possibly propose and implement improvements in the mapping processes. So if you have ideas for optimizations or maybe filling gaps in the current service landscape, you could address this in the proposal. Then thirdly, you must document your findings and methods on a TETTRIS wiki system. I will talk about this in a second. And finally, it's important to mention that you can include work on the development of the resource itself. So if your local resource needs some kind of fixing or completion, this can be included in the proposal. Which now brings me back to the wiki system I just mentioned. We set this up last month. Its purpose is to transparently document what is happening in the TETTRIS task, but also in the 3PP projects for topic 2. And as you might know, the task only started in May, so there are no finished results yet. But at least the wiki already provides information about the background, the main target services, and use cases. So in this way, applicants can find information and refer to it. You can find the URL of the wiki site on the 3PP website under the topic 2 description. Then perhaps a word about the innovation aspect. We have mentioned citizen science, machine learning, and open data here, but it's not a requirement. But if you develop innovative methods, then you can use this slot, so to speak, to include this in the proposal. So for example, if you have innovative methods for creating links between taxonomic resources and services very effectively, then you can include this here. So that's it, I guess.
Thank you so much, Anton. For the attendees to this webinar, please take a look to go back recurrently to our website, where a more detailed explanation of each of the topics and the call at large is included. So as Olaf mentioned in his introduction, this webinar is intended to give you a space for questions, not for explaining in depth the topics, because we have already addressed this earlier on. But please keep your ideas and your questions in the waiting list until we go through all the topics, and we will open the floor to you all. Let's go to topic 3. Vincent, please.
Okay, thank you. So I will be presenting topic 3 and topic 4. I will try to combine them partly. So these topics mainly address the problem we have is that we in the past 200 years described thousands and thousands of species, but still many of these species can only be identified by specialists based on specialistic literature. And what we want, of course, is that this information on how to identify species is more readily available to non-specialists. And therefore, the main aim of both topic 3 and 4 is to demonstrate that we can cooperate with different institutes in order to together make artificial intelligence available for image and sound recognition, which can be used by these museum and universities, but also by non-specialists like citizen scientists. So topic 3 focuses on image recognition, topic 4 on sound recognition, and for topic 3 we focus on mollusk, and there the idea is to digitize 2 or 3 different collections. Based on that, build an image recognition system. That part will be done by Naturalis Biodiversity Center, so it's not really needed to have AI specialists in your team because that part is already dealt. And based on that model, test whether or not it works, and that should be done both in the collections, so in different collections of other parties, and in the field. The idea is that this project will mainly focus on the genus Vertigo, which is a genus of small mollusks, which includes several species included in the Habitat Directive, and that will be these species are occurring throughout Europe. And we would hope to also receive proposals which, in addition to that, also include a different project which is more focused on the Mediterranean area. And it could be on a certain area, but it could also be on a certain genus, which is difficult to identify. Let's see. Yeah, so 2 more things to stress. So still on topic 3. It's important that the data which is produced by digitizing collections will be fed to GBIF, and from there it will be harvested to make these image recognition models. And also important is when writing the proposal, make sure that it's accountable. So it's clear, it's easy to understand how many objects will be digitized. So then on topic 4, topic 4 is focused on sound recognition, and basically there the question is, can we make sound recognition for grasshoppers, train people to use it, which will result in more sound recordings being uploaded to portals, based on which we can make a better sound prediction for grasshoppers. So what we want to demonstrate is a loop, more people interested, more data, better training of models, better models, more people interested, and etc. So this project is focused at organizing at least 2 workshops, and these should be focused on the Mediterranean area because there's the highest diversity and the most problems with identification of grasshoppers. And in this case, it's important that the data, so the sound recordings, are uploaded to the website Xenocanto, which is open access website for sound recordings. From there, it will be harvested. Naturalis Biodiversity Center will make a model, and then that model can be used and tested in additional workshops. Yeah, that's it for topic 4, I think. I will be leaving in 20 minutes because I have to teach. So if there are questions for topic 3 or 4, people should either ask them now or send the questions later to me.
Thank you, Vincent. Yes, to make people aware that we have a restricted timing. Of course, if there is any question for topics 3 or 4, we will give, if possible, a first try. But in any case, all those questions that will not be addressed during this webinar will certainly be addressed afterwards. And we will upload all the questions and answers in our TETTRIS website. So don't worry about the timing, the time limitations that, of course, we have, but keep your questions in your mind to that all of them will be addressed. So let's move to topic 5. Please, Frederick, you may come in to explain a little bit more on this.
Okay, good morning, everyone. So one of the other aims within the whole TETTRIS project is, in fact, to facilitate the implementation of molecular tools and genomic tools, in fact, to facilitate or to improve taxonomic knowledge in biodiversity hotspots and protected areas. And we think this is really particularly relevant for those biodiversity hotspots because many taxonomists face difficulties in deciphering species complexes because there can be cryptic species because those areas are so hyper diverse sometimes that simple morphological traits or standard molecular markers, like for example DNA barcoding markers, are often insufficient to get a good knowledge about the biodiversity richness of those areas. So one of the aims we have, and with we, I mean the Royal Belgian Institute of Natural Sciences, the Botanical Garden of Mese, and also the Natural History Museum in Vienna. We aim to develop workflows and pipelines that should facilitate the development of a set of molecular markers, multi-local markers that should easily be applicable, maybe with also, let's say, portable sequencing devices, and that should facilitate local nodes for doing applying or using those molecular tools to improve the taxonomic knowledge. And to validate and test those methodologies, we seek, in fact, within TETTRIS collaboration with local nodes or taxonomists, and that really are facing such problems, so that are studying species complexes in those biodiversity hotspots and are facing problems based on morphology or standard genetic markers in deciphering the species state or the taxonomic status within such complexes. And so so we will not focus on all groups because we are expertise. For example, the Botanical Garden, they have an expertise on plants, and Vienna and we here in Brussels, we have expertise in entomology in general. So we restrict it to species complexes of plants and insects, but we are a bit broader, so we consider entomology, so also other terrestrial invertebrates should be possible. We have a slight preference for pollinators, but it's definitely not necessary. So if you have other species complexes, that's do not hesitate and definitely also submit your proposals. Maybe a few important points at the end. So what is important for us as a requirement to, if you would like to apply, first of all, that you have very good demonstrated knowledge about the taxonomy of this of the species complex, because this knowledge is not in our hands, but that's in your hand, and that's where the synergy is, of course. We also request that specimens are already available for molecular analysis, not everything, but at least that we can start initially during the project. And the molecular work and bioinformatic work will be done in collaboration. So we have lab expertise, but we also expect from the participant that they have at least some lab expertise. And so you don't need to be an expert in genomics or bioinformatics, but at least that you can work in a lab and that there's somebody involved or demonstrated knowledge that you can work in a lab, because the work will be done jointly. Okay, that's it for topic 5, and I await your questions at the end.
Thank you, Frederick. I'm sure there will come some in this regard. We move then to topic 6. Yasmi, please, your turn.
Yes, good morning, everyone. Topic 6 has to do with training on taxonomy, and I will, taking into account the questions that I received the previous month, I would like to note, to mention some actual points here. The training, the TETTRIS partners will develop 3 training courses, blended courses, which means online part and face-to-face part. And these 3 courses will be for soil fauna, an advanced course, for freshwater fauna, an intermediate level course, and for pollinators, which is for citizen science. So these 3 courses will be ready. You will not have to develop any new course on any other subject. And this has to be very clear. So you will have to implement and evaluate these 3 courses, 1, 2, or 3, depending on what you will choose. The added thing or innovation that you could add here is that for each country, there are some local conditions. For example, for fresh water, the rivers are different in Central Europe than in South Europe. So in your proposal, you will have to add some further material to adjust the local conditions to the already developed courses. So this is something extra than the implementation of the already made courses. The second thing that has to be clear is that we, the TETTRIS partners, we will come to your place and train people who will function as local future trainers. What it means, we will not train a majority, a big, many persons from your country. We will train the trainers, the people who will become trainers to your country. These people should be experts in taxonomy. First, this is a condition. They have to be experts in taxonomy who want to become trainers to train the local audience. So on the TETTRIS partners will help you and train these future local trainers, but then in your proposal, you can organize new trainings on the already made courses with the additions that you will have on for your country. And in this case, for the new courses that you will organize, the trainers will be the people who will be trained by us in the previous months, let's say. After all this procedure, what we expect from you is the evaluation and the feedback of the whole procedure so that we can fulfill the training courses and make them available to everyone. The expected outcome is, after all that we've said, to enhance the taxonomic knowledge and expertise in the local nodes, in places with high biodiversity, in places that are biodiversity hotspots, etc. So this is it from my point. Any questions are welcome. Thank you.
Thank you, Yasmin. Such a very motivating topic to address. Let's go to the final one, the topic 7. Please, Joe, Francesca, come in and take it up.
Thank you, Anna. Hi everyone. I'm Joe from the European Citizen Science Association. My colleague Francisca is here as well. As mentioned, topic 7 is a bit broader than the others, slightly different, focusing mainly on citizen science and the involvement of citizen science in the proposal as a way to monitor biodiversity hotspots and to kind of bring new novel approaches and innovative approaches to monitoring biodiversity. So the aim is to clearly demonstrate how you can contribute to biodiversity conservation in protected areas, European protected areas, using citizen science. The citizen science collaborative approach is key, is a very important aspect. It should be multidisciplinary. It should include the support of local stakeholders and local communities with appropriate training for volunteers and citizens that are involved. Ideally with some sustainability, that the project will keep moving forward and keep engaging citizens in the area. It's possible to have support from a TETTRIS consultant as well, with expertise in citizen science, to kind of guide you and give you some advice at the beginning if needed, if it's required, but it's not necessary. Innovation is a key point. So this should involve biodiversity monitoring, or also education, engagement, and involvement around biodiversity, kind of fostering stewardship of the environment, and well, ideally both. And the expected outcomes are raising public awareness and engagement with taxonomic research and biodiversity, specific focus in the local areas, hotspots that your proposal is focused on. Data should contribute to local and regional efforts, and there should also be kind of efforts to, for data quality and that sort of thing, which is always needed with citizen science, and to generate data at national, European level. And the project and the results should be openly available and accessible. And educational campaigns should clearly demonstrate the value for building taxonomic research and education in future. And projects should be as inclusive as possible, include people from as many backgrounds as is possible in that form. So a couple of other points. It's we encourage you to also use citizen science in the other topics that you're applying for. Kind of should be an integral part of the 3PP call. But if citizen science is your sort of key focus in your area, then this is the correct topic for you. And we'd also say that it's if you're submitting something for proposal 7, it doesn't also have to specifically address some of the taxonomic criteria in the other topics, but as long as you can show that it's contributing to biodiversity conservation and focuses on citizen science, then you can apply for topic 7. So I think I'll leave it there and await your questions.
Thank you, Joe, and thanks to all the presenters, the topics leaders. You can see from this very brief explanation that we are tackling taxonomic work from different perspectives, trying to improve taxonomic work in the field and to certainly generate and consolidate training work in certain areas, and potentially to raise recognition of taxonomy and attract new generations of taxonomists to join our community. So, well, this is it. These are the 7 topics that we would like to address. Please, I will give the floor back to Olaf, because now is your turn to place questions, and we will try to address them all if possible. If not, as I said, we will keep them all. We will address them after this webinar. Olaf, please.
Thank you, Anna, and thank you to the topic leads for their presentations. So do please post your questions in the question box, and then we will ask the attendee to post their question. So we will unmute you. You can ask the question, and then the panelists can address them directly. So we'd like to start with a question for topic 1. It was asked by Berta Caballero Lopez. So Berta, we will unmute you if that's okay, and then please do ask your question.
Olaf, maybe a small remark, because Vincent is leaving earlier. I'm just wondering if it could not be an option to first address the questions for topics 3 and 4, and then maybe to 1, because Vincent, he needs to leave, I think, quite early. No, it's just a suggestion.
Yeah, no, thank you. That's very useful. Not all of the questions have a specific topic attached, so it's quite hard to judge. But if there are any, we will pick them out and ask them earlier than the order in which they're asked. So we'll take account of the fact that Vincent is leaving. So Berta, if you are still online, if you and otherwise I will read the question, and otherwise you are now unmuted, so you can ask the question for topic 1.
Yeah, the thing, no, but I agree with Frederick. Maybe you can start with the other word package. Yeah, if he has. Do you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. The question is, I'm not understanding if we have to produce the database or you are going to make a kind of a database and we have to support with all information. It's not clear, I think, for me. So we can produce a database, that's easy. But and in the application, we can describe how this database could be. And the inspiration can be the Drexel University platform as an example. But the thing is that we are going to have a common platform, because I think it's one of the key things that there are many platforms, many different systems that they are working pretty well, but the thing is they don't connect each other. It's like both systems. With genetics, it's working pretty well. And how we communicate that platforms. It just to don't make another thing that it's not connected with the others, just to build up connections. But I don't know, maybe it's more philosophical.
Okay. Thank you, Berta. So anyone from topic 1 want to address Berta's question?
Maybe again, I can try, Maria, or
sure, yes.
As you prefer, because probably I will need to be integrated. But you are right that indeed we are going to provide the same tool we are going to use for the consultant work in TETTRIS projects to retrieve the information, and we have started working with colleagues in GBIF to organize a way to make these data permanent and open source and open access online. Because the problem is that at the moment we envisage the lack of tools suitable to treat this intermediate level of information, not the level of the collections, which is already treated within GR cycle in GBIF, and not the bottom level of specimens, which is what usually feeds the museum database. We need the intermediate level of species, which are somehow sub-collection themselves. So we are working on this, but we will provide as consultants the same tool as we will use.
Okay.
So only one. Was I right, Maria, Sarah? Okay.
I have more questions, but maybe I put it in the webpage or I continue. I know.
No,
I write
we welcome all questions, so you write it, and then if we have time, we'll address it, and otherwise it'll be addressed offline and find its way into the frequently asked questions. But thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you. So next question is from Ante Fujic from Novi Sad, Serbia. Ante, if you're still on line, happy to ask your question. It's not topic specific or not topic specified, so do please ask your question if you can. I think Ante is self-muted, so I will read out the question. Oh.
You can do that, it's no problem. Or I can do that same.
No, please,
this is related to the courses, taxonomical courses, because in the other European project here from Novi Sad we do many taxonomic course for hoverflies, from the basic to the advanced integrative. And now is the question, because that was mentioned that these courses will be already set up before. Who will do that for hoverflies, and how we can integrate this, because we already have here 7 experts that work on the hoverflies and do the courses, and how that can be now part of the proposal, because we have developed these courses, and we can use for sure these others, but the question is from where are these courses, and how is I don't know to say that, but if you like to teach us for the taxonomy of hoverflies, it is a little bit opposite to the reality. Thank you. Question from colleague Yasmi, or
Yes. Topic 6, it's clear. Hoverflies is one taxa of pollinators, indeed. But for pollinators will be addressed to the citizen science target group. So if you could, you will have to implement what we are going to develop eventually, plus you will have to adjust the courses that you already have for hoverflies as a case study, let's say, but adjust it for the citizen science, because the pollinators topic will be targeted on citizen science. So you said that it is your courses are for advanced level. So what would be a challenge for you, I guess?
We do for all levels, not only. We do for all levels, not only for advanced.
So you could
we
integrate.
all do basic and everything.
You could
for
integrate.
Also.
Good. So you could integrate. You will have to attend and follow and implement what we are going to develop, because this is what we need to have the feedback and the evaluation and the whole procedure. But as an addition, you could put the courses you have addressed to the citizen science target group only, because pollinators are there in this target group. So you could integrate it there, only for the citizen science, as a case study for hoverflies, for example. This is what I can think now.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
And they are.
Thank you very much, Ante. I think because there are quite a lot of questions, we'll slightly
Sorry, can I just say like an addendum to the last question? So in case this comes up, so if it's a mixed proposal, you should pick one topic that you want to apply on. So you should either be the citizen science or topic 6 if you can follow another taxa, but you cannot submit a mixed proposal that addresses several topics, as far as I'm aware, just to clarify this.
Okay, thank you very much for the clarification. I think that's very useful. We'll change it slightly so that we can get through more questions. That I will read the question, and if it needs any further clarification, we'll go back to the specific asker. So next question is again for topic 6. Question is, how many courses can be organized by future local trainers? How many days each of the course can last? Do the future local trainers that will keep part of your training, must they be employees of the university, research group of museum, or can they be an expert not connected with an organization? And then there's a specific form question, but I think the first one, again for topic 6, for Yasmi, I think how many courses can be organized by the future local trainers, probably a key question to answer.
Okay, in the future local trainers will attend and will be trained by us for 1 or 3. They can choose either one or all of the 3 courses that we will develop. If you read the call, there will be 1 month for online attendance, and then maximum 5 days face-to-face lab and field work. So when we finish, I have the dates here, this whole procedure could be able to be finished by May 2025. So after the future local trainers will be certified and ready to train other people, they could arrange courses to follow. The online part will need about 1 month for each trainee, And the face-to-face will need maximum 5 days training. So it's depending on your personnel and on your time scale. After the future local trainers will be trained, if you train 4 people, for example, each one of them could train more other people. I don't know if it is clear. The online part, the e-learning platform, the online course will take no more than 1 month, and the face-to-face will last no more than 5 days. So you could, for example, arrange 10 courses in 3 months period, each week the face-to-face for different trainees, and the online part will be online part. More people could attend that. So if you have an experience on how to organize such courses, it's not very difficult to arrange it. But if you need any further info, we could communicate in a more personal way. I'm available. Thanks.
Thank you, Yasmi. And the question is quite detailed. So again, to the asker, all of these questions will also be answered separately, so further information will be provided. Moving on to the next question, again for topic 1. Can developing of innovative genetic markers be presented as the protocol development, one of the goals from topic 1? Is that clear, or would you like me to read it again? This is a topic 1 question. Can development of innovative genetic markers be presented as the protocol development, one of the goals from topic 1? So Maria,
I will retry, but I would like the assistance of Maria and Sarah, because I don't feel it really matched with the purposes of topic 1. Instead, more with topic, it has to do with topic, I don't remember the number, 5, maybe 4?
5 indeed.
5.
Yeah.
5, okay. Yeah. Because I cannot understand, because indeed, one can use different methods to get the list of species, but genetic methods, I don't think they can apply, because they are usually referred to single specimens. I don't think we are.
But perhaps Frederick, you can come in.
And indeed, so if I understood the question well, if the aim would be to develop a set of markers and apply novel new markers for distinguishing the different species also in the collections, then I really would recommend you to apply for topic 5 rather than for topic 1, because this is exactly the aim of topic 5. So it fits in fact perfectly within this topic. It's a bit different if your question is more, what about if we have DNA barcodes, for example, available, and we would also like to link it to those specimens in the reference collections, then this is something else. Then this I think would rather fit in topic 1, and then people from topic 1 could advise you how, if this is feasible or not, or how it could help you. But if it is on the development of markers, I would go for topic 5.
Thank you very much. Moving on to the next question.
Olaf, if I may, I would like to underline that the topic selected is the one that under which your proposal will be most involved. But of course, the differences between certain topics are very, very thin. So you may have also some citizen science involvement or some reference collections integrated in your proposal. As Frederick said, this outline that you put in your question addresses topic 5. But please do not hesitate to include some references to topic 1 if needed, because we are all connected. you will address one topic, but you may have some other minor involvement with others. That's something that you could also include. Thank you.
Thank you, Anna, for that clarification. I think that's very useful. Moving on to the next question, a topic 5 question from Ariana Thomas. Is there necessary to do field work, or can we focus in processing samples that are already in the museum collections? For example, the extraction protocol for HDNA. I'll read that again for topic 5. Oh, yeah, was it clear?
Yeah, the question is very clear. No, it's definitely not necessary to take new samples in the field if you have your samples or even DNA extracts of good quality available already to start to work. That's perfectly fine. No, that's not an. I can be very brief. That's not. It's definitely not necessary.
Good. Thank you very much. That's nice, short, and clear. Next question is for is a more of a procedural application question. Many universities require overhead to be gathered. Applying from NGO is the only way to proceed. Question mark. So perhaps for perhaps Pavla or someone else specifically about overhead.
Overheads are not eligible in our call. Overhead, it means heating, water, energy, cleaning your university building, and so on. However, we provide 100% of financing of all other personnel and travel and so on. So you don't need to co-finance. Also, you can include, if the project is really big, you can include your administrative staff as part of project management. Thank you.
Thank you. And there's a lot within the frequently asked questions around the finances related to the proposals. So do also look there.
I think we can answer these questions in written form because it is it should be very clear, and I'm not sure if I can answer it clearly now. Yes.
Thank you, Pavla. Another topic 5 question. How do the specimens have to be stored? We have a set of specimens at -20. This is all right for standard sequencing, but for genomics, we would have to have -40 specimens. How many specimens per species would be required? May the lab equipment be included in the costs? So that's partly a topic 5 content question, partly a finance proposal question. So we'll start with the content topic 5 question. So Frederick, are you okay with the question?
You're muted, Frederick.
Frederick, you are muted. You are muted.
Yeah, excuse me. So what's most important for us, I think that you write clearly in your proposal how the specimens are stored, and that makes it easy for us to address how suitable they are. I don't think it's an issue if your specimens are stored in -20. They can be perfectly used for genomics, for genomic the application of genomic tools. Also, something to consider that we also would like to test during the procedure, if time allows it, of course, how well those methods can be applied also to specimens of less quality, because this is often an issue. And museum specimens, for example, that are stored under not ideal conditions, that we can also test this in this case. So for us, it's most important that you simply state how they are preserved, and then we can assess how suitable they are. But I don't, given what you described, I don't think it will be a problem if they are stored like this. It's in fact, it's perfect like this. Yeah, was there also a financial part? Sorry.
Yes. So there was a question. So can the lab equipment be included in the costs? So, for example, portable sequencers or blue pippin.
Yeah, that's more difficult. So what we mainly consider as costs that are eligible is, and it's also written in the frequently asked questions, is that you specify. We propose a flat fee of €100 for each specimens that you would like to analyze. So, for example, imagine that say we have here possibly a complex of, let's say, 10 species, and we would like to analyze 5 specimens per species. Yeah, then you have 50 specimens, and then you specify €5,000 for the molecular cost. Really, equipment is not really that we really consider for this topic. It's more to help you to develop the markers, because we would like to avoid, of course, that we would invest our cost of the third-party project in the development of another lab. Imagine that somebody would say, we propose a project of €200,000 for investment, then we just simply pay some lab.
Yeah. Thank you, Frederick, for that. Next question, perhaps for Anna or Pavla. Can the same institution be involved in more than one application?
Certainly, if there are different departments from same institution addressing different topics, it can be certainly both applications being submitted. We will then analyze the impact of each of them. It does not relate to the institution itself. As long as the institution is eligible, you can submit proposals.
Thank you, Anna. Another procedural question: is it permitted? Can we include hardware purchases? Is the question. I don't know whether the asker wants to clarify.
Sir, if you need it, if you need hardware for your project, of course, you can buy it from the project. However, in every of these questions, all the costs, everything what you buy, it must be from the financial perspective, economic, efficient, and it must be focused. It must be needed for fulfilling the target of the project. Yes, the target of the project is not that your institution will buy equipment. The target of the project is different, and we will focus on this in your justification of equipment that you buy.
Thank you, Pavla. I think that clarifies it. Another question from topic 1, a follow-up from a previous question. If we focus on red list species that are widely distributed around Europe, and we have specimens from the different regions, do we have to include all specimens or only the ones that correspond to the Mediterranean hotspot? Happy to read that again for Maria or someone else from topic 1. If we focus on red list species that are widely distributed around Europe, and we have specimens from the different regions, do we have to include all specimens or only the ones that correspond to the Mediterranean hotspot?
The focus can be only referred to a specific area, to a specific hotspot. What they have to include is the complete list of species, not specimens. That means we have to refer to, they have to provide the list of available species within a certain collection of the entire concerned group, because the standard that we will provide is the complete checklist. These complete checklists could be only referred to a specific area, of course, not to the whole Europe. That's true, but we are not referring to specimens. Maybe it's a little bit complex question. It's easier for us to discuss this by email or with a different, because there is a little bit of, I envisage a little bit of confusion about the topic and the purposes of this topic. But yes, of course, the project can be referred to a specific area, but the reference is a complete checklist, cannot be a red list. Because the purpose is to provide a tool useful for taxonomists to discern, to discriminate from all the species within a genus, for example. So while referring only to a red list, there could be not protected or not targeted species in the red list that can be confused with the targeted ones. So the idea is that the checklist will be complete. I'm not sure whether it is clear, but we can explain better in a different way, but sorry, Maria, I'm taking the floor every time,
No,
but
I
just
think
because
I think what's best, and these questions come from a specific asker, Bertha, who already asked an early question about topic 1. I think it's probably best to address to they are very detailed. So, and I think the clarity can come perhaps on or you can send the questions to the administrator email address, which is also online, and then we will facilitate, and then you will get very specific answers back to your questions. So we will moderate that. So Bertha, if you can, we'll make sure that those questions are answered directly outside of the webinar, and then they will find their way also back into the frequently asked questions in case they're relevant for anyone else.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Another question that it's not topic specific. How could we identify the suitable TETTRIS consultants and his or her costs? Question 1. And then question 2, is it possible for an entomologist with a VAT number to be a partner of the main applicant? Is it possible to have a contract from one of the partners? And do I have to include it as a separate cost or as a sum of the main applicant partner that could make the contract? So I think we'll focus on the first question first, how we could identify the suitable TETTRIS consultants and his or her costs. We'll start with that one. So perhaps Pavla, or about the identifying suitable TETTRIS consultants and his or her costs.
Well, consultants, to identify them, are basically related to the topic which you want to address. The topic leaders are the ones that will connect to the consultants that are to be involved in the co-development of the proposal whenever needed. YASMI, for instance, will be connecting trainers to the trainers in the field. Anton will connect people that will relate to topic 2, etc., etc. So the consultants will be identified through the topic leaders. Their cost, whenever they are involved, can be also identified through these contacts. And as Frederick was mentioned specifically for topic 5, it's already references are already in the topic. So this could be addressed individually when the topic is specified.
Thank you, Anna. And then a second question, and I think the rest of the question will answer separately because there are quite a lot. Is it possible for an entomologist with a VAT number to be a partner of the main applicant? Again, perhaps that's something for either Anna or Pavla.
Yeah, of course.
Yes, physical persons are not eligible, but if he has a VAT, it is, for example, by the Czech law, considered as self-employed with VAT, so we can be a partner.
Exactly. As Pavla said, individuals cannot be the submitters of the proposal. but they can collaborate with in their profile as VAT holders with some of the partners of the proposal and be contracted by them to include their participation, their collaboration, and therefore their cost in the proposal. That's the way to move.
Yeah, I think that probably for Malaika PG, I think that probably answers the rest of your question as well. And I think further clarity will be given clearly written and find its way again back to the frequently asked questions. Nearing the end, so anyone who has a specific question, do please post it in the question box. Another question, a generic question about being able to apply for the project as an international interdisciplinary group. Is there enough information in the questionnaire to answer it, or do we need more?
Yes, the main information what we need to decide is if it is informal consortium or if it is like a legal person. Yes, this is the difference. In the case if it is legal person, it's no problem. And in the case if it is non like a voluntary consortium of institutions, they should choose one who will be the main applicant and other can be partners.
Okay. I think we've I think we're nearing the final questions, so do ask now, and otherwise clearly email the administrator email address for any questions that you realize after this webinar. The question is, in the web form, budget is sorted by collaborator. Does it mean each partner will be paid to each entity separately? So again, maybe Anna or Pavla.
I'm not sure if I understood the question.
No, I think the question is if from TETTRIS project the money will be sent separately to every partner. I don't think so. I think we will send it to the main applicant.
Exactly. The proposals have to have a leader, an entity, a legal person, a legal entity that will submit the entire proposal in the name of the other partners. We will transfer the money as the budget once approved across the implementation of the project with the 3 installments that we described when we presented to the leader that will distribute itself among the rest of collaborators, partners, etc. So that's one of the flexible part of this call, that the leader will distribute the money as the budget has been approved, but it will be the one responsible for that distribution. We from CTAF, as technical coordinator of TETTRIS, will transfer the money to that leading partner.
Very clear, Anna, thank you. I think this will be the final question. I think the very good question to close the question session with is there a list of interested applicants, or do we have to contact possible partners ourselves?
Well, this is a good question. I really think that as experts in each of the domains, each of the topics that we have identified, you are the one that are closer to the potential partners with which you would like to collaborate. There is not a list of interested parties. Of course, we have contacts that may help you to find some partners if necessary, but we understand that you are the ones much closer to those potential collaborators that with whom you would like to collaborate. So please set up by yourself that consortium, that group of collaborators. If you have any specific need for contacts or any specific question in that regard, we may help you. But it's not that we can do anything else in that regard, because you have to build your own consortium. We don't want to step into the who should be or not should be in that proposal. We, as TETTRIS partners, we have, of course, contacts, but you are the one that needs to build the consortium.
Thank you, Anna, and I think that's a great closer question. All of the questions will again come online with answers, and where there's more detailed information needed, topic leads will give detailed answers or reach out via the administrator email. So I think great session. Thank you very much for all of your questions. I'll hand back to Anna to close the session.
Thank you, Olaf. And thanks, of course, to all participants. First, to the panelists for your contributions, and of course, to the attendees for your interest. I would like to close this by saying that this is a very novel mechanism. We are learning by doing, also by implementing this mechanism. But in this light, we encourage you to put your questions in the system, because we will address them all. If you have any single doubt, any single concern regarding how to proceed, how to submit the proposal, we didn't talk much about the online system for submitting the proposal, so we understand that this is clear for everyone that is thinking on submitting a project. But still, if not, we are here to support you. I really think that we are opening a funding mechanism to fund your projects, to give financial support to your ideas, to your ways to implement tools or to develop reference collections to address certain topics. And we are here to provide that financial support, which is really important. Most of the time we lack that kind of support. And here we are. TETTRIS has up to 1.8 million euros to provide financial support to you all. So please do not hesitate to submit proposals. If you have any doubt on how to really complete the project, come back to us. We will try to help you as much as possible. But all your ideas can find their way through towards one or several topics. So do not hesitate to submit the project you have in mind. This is a nice opportunity to receive that financial support. And all together, by doing it together, by being collaborative among the projects and the TETTRIS partners, we will raise taxonomic work to the level that it deserves. So here we are to provide the funding. You are there to collate ideas and to put those into a nice project proposal. It's easy to do so. It's not a EU-funded project. It's just a project under our call. So it doesn't have to be as hard or difficult as you can imagine the proposals for Horizon Europe are. It's much easier, so do not be afraid to put your projects ahead. And I think I'm talking on behalf of all the topic leaders. We are here to support your ideas, to complete your proposals, to provide with all type of supports. So these are my last words. Thanks a lot for being here, and we are looking forward to receiving meaningful, impactful proposals. Let's do it together. Thank you. And remember 30th of September as a deadline for submission. Good luck.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, good luck. Thank you.
Everybody.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye-bye.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye.
Was dat het?